If you need any Xbox or PlayStation codes or anything gaming related, check the referral links down in the description. They'll take you to g2a.com. They already have a discount on most of their goods already, and with the code CHES at checkout, you can get yourself an extra 3% off as well.
Hey guys, how's it going? Ches back again and welcome to episode number 44 of the Inter Milan career mode here on FIFA 15. After yesterday's transfer targets video, we're asking the board for a little bit extra money to try and help ease the pain when it comes to trying to bring in an extra face if we possibly can. They initially turned down my request for £10 million, so I'm going to ask for 7.5 and we'll see what they say. And again, they turned me down saying my performance at the club, or given my performance at the club, they're not willing to add the additional funds. Well, we won the Europa League. We are currently second in the Serie A table right now and are convincingly through in the Europa League group stage again after winning 6 of 6 group games. So not really too sure what they mean by that, but we do get £3.3 million out of them after we just pounded them with requests and eventually a tiny little bit added to our budget, but not really enough to make any sort of difference. We do get an offer in here for Juan Jesus, but clearly I'm not going to be letting him go. He says he's unhappy right now, but it's only because literally a day before he'd asked me to raise his wages and I hadn't gotten around to it yet. So he's fine, he's quite happy at the club. And we are getting bids in for our most popular players and our better performing players this year. As you can see, Rodrigo having enough come in for him, but obviously we've only just brought him in the summer transfer window, so he's going nowhere. We are looking at Roberto Pereira, obviously now at Udinese. Actually, in real life, he's at Juventus, so he's already moved once in this particular transfer, in this particular save. And I wasn't sure whether we'd actually be able to tease him away from Udinese. We don't have too much money to spend. That £3 million really wasn't enough to give us, enough clout in the transfer window. But a player that I wasn't aware I was going to get back is Alvaro Pereira. Obviously, he was on loan at a Brazilian club, and their season runs from January to December. It's a calendar season rather than the more traditional, in Europe at least, season from August to May. So his loan finished and is now back with the side, but I'm not really too sure whether selling him would be the right idea, because obviously we're not going to get too much money for him, and I was thinking about looking to buy a player in that sort of position anyway, wasn't I, when I was looking at Stefan Radu, the Romanian at Lazio. So to be fair, Pereira coming back has kind of filled that void anyway, so we don't really need to buy anyone in that position. That just leaves us solely with the main task right now of trying to bring in the youngster from Udinese, but at the minute we don't appear to have the funds, which is disappointing, but I will try my best to rally up as many pennies as I possibly can and bring in the Argentinian. If I can possibly do it, it will get done, but if I can't, we may have to look elsewhere, or maybe we may have to just avoid any transfers in this particular window at all. There's no point wasting money for the sake of, spending money, there's no point spending money for the sake of bringing someone in just for the sake of bringing someone in is what I'm trying to say. But my words apparently are too busy getting twisted up themselves coming out of my mouth. But anyway, let's crack on, shall we? And unfortunately, I wasn't aware that this game was going to be in the snow against Sassuolo, and I'd already selected my white away kit, so it was a little bit tough to try and pick out my players on the pitch whilst they kind of blended in with the pitch. And unfortunately, we ended up going 1-0 down in the opening stages. Sassuolo are a side that actually gave us a lot of problems last year as well, although they weren't that strong overall throughout the entirety of the season. But so far this year, as we sit over halfway through the Serie A season, Sassuolo are up in the top 3, and should they beat us here, we'll actually go above us. So we need to make sure we get ourselves back on level terms if we possibly can. Torre practically runs the full width of the pitch before cutting back to turn inside to slot the ball into the back of the net to bring it back to 1-1 after 36 minutes. We push deeper into the first half here, right into stoppage time, trying to get ourselves a goal to go in front if we can. Rodrigo shows great pace to get away from the defender here. Obviously going to try and turn back on his left foot. Couldn't quite squeeze it around the goalkeeper though into that far bottom corner, and unfortunately we aren't able to get ourselves a goal to go in front. But we're still on top in the second half. The ball comes in, Ranocchio with the header, it's looping towards the top corner, but the goalkeeper manages to backtrack and pluck it out of the air. And as I was pushing a lot of men forward to try and get a winner, you can see the gaps were appearing at the back. Sansone picks out the man at the back post, Sereni, who stands it up after dancing around the challenge. There's Simone Zaza, and it's Sassuolo 2, Inter Milan 1, despite the fact that we dominated the entirety of this game so far. So it was, of course, straight back up the other end for the chance to try and get ourselves a goal to go back on level terms rather than a goal to go in front. It's Rodrigo here with a turn. Good shot, and unfortunately it flashed wide. It did take a deflection though, so we will pick up the corner. Shaqiri's going to be the man to stand it up into the middle. Really not long left now, less than 5 minutes. It drops free. It drops to Safir Taider, but he just cannot get the shot away quick enough, and eventually Sassuolo are able to scramble it clear and away from outside of their own penalty box. We're almost in the 90th minute now. Lovely turn there by Rodrigo. The shot takes a deflection. It drops straight to the feet of Sissoko. First shot's well saved. Second shot is on its way in after the deflection, but the goalkeeper dives back down to palm it off the line, similar to how Ter Stegen did it against or for Barcelona in the Champions League semi-final the other day against Bayern Munich. And unfortunately, we lose to well, not necessarily title rivals, I don't suppose, but Champions League spot rivals, Sassuolo, away from home in the snow. Not the way I wanted to start this episode, to be completely honest, by finding out we don't really have enough money to bring in the player of the quality we want to, and then losing to Sassuolo. So we're into the next game, which is our first game in the Coppa Italia against Napoli. Now, the board have given me the extra money, but they want us to win the league, they want us to win the European Cup in the Europa League, and they want us to win the Cup domestically in Italy as well. So we've lost pace on Juventus at the top of Serie A right now after losing to Sassuolo. So I cannot afford to lose this game against Napoli and go out of the Cup. I just can't. Obviously, we're still in a very strong position in Europe, but they're starting an extremely good side. Eduardo Vargas on the right with Mertens on the left. Hamsik sat behind Gonzalo Higuain. It is a very strong Napoli side. We've played well against them previously, although we have had some trouble against them previously as well. But Freddy Guarin shows good feet. Unfortunately, not quite good enough to dance around the defender, but Romero, it does eventually drop back to Freddy Guarin, but he hits the post after Romero's shot was blocked by the defender. Then they came forward on the half-hour mark. Vargas, obviously extremely fast. We used him a lot when we were at Liverpool, and it was a top goal scorer for us. In fact, scored the goal that won us the Barclays Premier League at Liverpool. They're playing the ball about brilliantly here. There's just nothing I could do about that one-touch passing. Phenomenal football from Napoli, teasing me with it, just playing it about the box, eventually passing it around the goalkeeper before putting it into the back of an empty net. But we're going to force our way back into the game here. Lovely first touch by Guarin to take it around the fender. Tried to guide it into that bottom corner, but it wouldn't come off. The keeper gets down well to it, but after that goal from Napoli, we were really going to be on top. Same way we were against Sassuolo. The only thing is, in the Sassuolo game, we weren't able to get the goals we needed. Were we going to be able to get the goals we needed in this one? 1-0 down in the Sassuolo game, and we equalised around about the 35th minute. We've done the same here this time through Marco Sau. Scored a very, very good volleyed goal on Wednesday to score us an important goal in that game, and could that one be even more important in this one, getting us the impetus to push forward into the second half to try and get ourselves in front. Brozovic with the shot, and that makes it Inter Milan 2, Napoli 1, and we are in front. We've got ourselves into the position in this game that we couldn't against Sassuolo, and to be fair, we have the opportunity to recover the position in the league. If we lose this one, we're out of the cup, so this one's probably more important to win in the grand scheme of things. So close to a third there to finish the game off, but it just would not sneak in that bottom corner from Cavanda. And then they come up the other end trying to get themselves an equaliser. Headed clear though from the defence. Obviously they've pushed a lot of men forward. Dybala crucially wins that header. Marco Sau plays him in again. It's quite simple from this position. All I had to do was decide, do I shoot or do I tramp it and pass it to Marco Sau? I did the latter. We get the third goal. That's game over. We are through to the next round, to the quarterfinals of the Coppa Italia. So I'm pleased to have gotten the win in that game, especially considering actually I was playing a lot weaker side in that one, but was really disappointed to have lost the game against Sassuolo. So we're still trying to negotiate the deal for Roberto Pereira if we possibly can. They want 20 million for him, which is just don't have it. I just do not have it, unfortunately, but I'm going to fiddle with the budget here slightly just so I can improve the, because obviously with the player that we're trying to put up for as make weight, his wages will leave, so we can actually afford to have the wage budget slightly less, so we can use the player that's going out. His wages can go towards Pereira's wages should he come in, and then I just have to try and wean out every single last penny that I have to try and get them to accept that deal, but I don't quite think it's going to happen. So we'll have to wait and see what does happen over the next couple of episodes when we get to Monday next week. Obviously, I'm waiting for your I'm recording this on Wednesday, so I'm waiting for your feedback in Thursday's episode, which is yesterday, as you see this, and feedback in the comment section today before I record Mondays to decide what we do with the minimal funds that we have. But We are now 1 game away from the halfway point in the Serie A table, and we're 5 points away from the top of the league. 2 points behind second and 2 points ahead of fourth and fifth, with Napoli sat there just inside the Europa League positions, with Lazio and AC Milan sat just outside as well. So it's extremely tight at the top, and we'll do our best to try and regain our top spot if we possibly can between now and the end of the season. But Juve are on a very good run of form, through in the Champions League to the final. As I record this, they've just won or just drawn to then win on aggregate the semi-final tie to put them through to the final in Berlin in the Champions League at the end of the month to play Barcelona in Berlin. But that will bring today's episode to a close. Thank you very much for watching. Drop the video a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time.